Happening now. Roster changes. 6 of the 9 North American teams making at least one change in their on and off the field lineup. Will these changes lead to the surge in performance that teams are looking for, or are they simply just stand-ins while orgs look for better options? NAL. After an exciting Stage 1 followed up by a Brazilian showdown at the 6th Invitational, North America returns to Las Vegas for Stage 2. How will the board be affected by the new rosters? Will there be continuity from the new leaders of Stage 1, or will the sleeping giants return from their slumber and retake their position atop the throne? I'm Brandon Jagged Pierce, and you're in the Situations Room. Another stage of the NAL is upon us. Over the last couple of months, we had an amazing Stage 1 where we saw new lineups start to steal the spotlight and the storied rosters start to struggle. Following that up, we had the postponed 6th Invitational replacing the main major, marking the end of Stage 1. When the dust settled, our new Brazilian overlords reigned supreme, and I for one welcome their rule. The offseason though has not been slow for the North American scene. Out of the 9 teams we have in the NAL, 6 of them have made some form of roster change. And things get even crazier inside of Challenger League. Stay tuned for a video covering that. Starting June 15th, we will see the NAL back in action with 9 playdays over the next 7 weeks. This time around, we'll have Super Weeks happening in weeks 1 and 2 with playdays on Tuesday and Wednesday for both of those weeks. To preview this stage, let's start with the roster changes by going down the Day 1 matchups. In the first match of Stage 2, we see Disrupt going up against TSM. Disrupt, after their first 4th place finish last stage, made the decision to drop Mark. To fill this hole, they brought up the Orgless ex-Nordic player of DP Fire. He was Orgless' primary entry player last stage in CL, so how will Disrupt adjust their roles considering they already have both Iconic and J90 on the squad? Disrupt though did not stop there and also picked up a new coach. A veteran in the name of Easily, he's been around since the Xbox days and brings a lot of experience to this team in a crucial leadership position. It'll be exciting to see what he throws down with this squad in Stage 2. In game number 2, we have Mirage going up against Dark Zero. Now, both of these teams ended up making roster changes. Starting off with Mirage, after the Stage 1 3rd place finish, Mirage kept true with their commitment to hold on to Quartz and secure his visa, which left him unable to be fielded in Stage 1 lineup. With this, Hot and Cold has moved on to bigger things, which we will discuss momentarily. This new Mirage roster still has the same core from last stage, and with the growth they showed towards the end of Stage 1, even with losing Hot and Cold, the team still has plenty of fire left in them. Their opponents of Dark Zero made quite possibly the most drastic changes of all the North American teams this stage. On June 24th, we saw the announcement that Skies had officially retired from competitive play. Many of us were deeply saddened by the news, but it did not stop there. The following day, Mint, the longest tenured player on the roster, following the team all the way back to Year 1 Season 2, right before they signed with Flipside Tactics, also announced his own retirement. With this came 2 massive holes in the roster of Dark Zero. 2 of the most vetted players in the entire game, in step with the pattern we've been seeing over the course of this year, have stepped down. As we see the old guard begin to retire and step out of the server, we start to see the next generation of talent start their climb through the trenches. With Dark Zero needing 2 pickups, the trenches is exactly where they decided to look for a player. Hailing from the Challenger League team of Livid, Dark Zero has pulled up Panbazoo, a young entry player looking to make his mark on the big leagues. Of course, this still leaves 1 hole remaining on Dark Zero. With Mint's retirement, he stated he would be moving into the coaching operations over at Dark Zero, so many speculated that he and BC would be co-coaching the team together. But in a completely unexpected move, we saw the 2-time Major Grand Finalist, 4-time Pro League Final attendee, heat-seeking Nade God himself, BC, re-enter the lobby to round out Dark Zero's roster for the upcoming stage. How will this roster perform remains a mystery though, as it seems they are following in suit with other teams like G2 or SSG in creating rosters that are more suited for a new meta that is more friendly to fragging style teams. With this roster change means that of the 5 players that won the August mini major just last summer, only Eclipse and Hyper remain. Needless to say, Dark Zero has a lot to prove, and with any rebuilding period, expect to see that traditional Dark Zero slow start. Moving into matchup number 3, we get to see the spectacle of the Sonics versus Space Station. while the second place team of SQ didn't make any changes after a stage that surprised much of Twitch chat. Space Station came into the off-scene knowing that they would almost assuredly be needing to find a new fifth. Following a rough stage 1 which saw Luke have to step into the server to fill the shoes of a last-second retirement of Canadian, the SSG squads traveled to Paris and had a disappointing invitational run. Once stateside again, the team began searching far and wide for their replacement and found their new player already baking out in the Vegas sun. Hot and Cold is the newest member of Space Station Gaming. The former Mirage player had a standout split in Stage 1, easily being the one of the most influential players across the entire league. With him now joining the likes of Rampy, Fultz, Bosco, and Thinking Nade, I'm extremely excited to see what Lycan, Sov, and Luke have cooked up for this stage. The distribution of roles will be interesting to look out for, as we'll see who the primary IGL will be. Regardless, I think this roster is very well rounded and should be on everyone's radar to make waves in Stage 2. Speaking of waves, the final game of Playday number 1 is Oxygen vs Beast Coast. The Stage 1 winners, after an unfortunate ending at the 6th Invitational that saw them end joint 5th, 6th, opted not to make any roster changes, and I believe that's the right move. After a slow start in Stage 1, Yaga came alive at the Invitational, and I have faith that he will continue that caliber of play alongside the rest of his team in Stage 2. Their opponents of Beast Coast, however, did opt to make a change. After a poor performance in Stage 1, the newly minted NAL roster parted ways with the veteran player of Ghost, opting instead to go down and pick up the former OXG member of Biologic who was dropped before Stage 1 started. This roster move gives me the least confidence of the entire shuffle, though. A large part of Beast Coast's problems in Stage 1 was that they were heavily lacking in the fragging department, and instead of looking towards the future and scouting a fresh, talented gunner from Challenger League like other teams in NA did, BC instead picked up the statistically third lowest rated player of the entire NAL in Stage 2 of 2020. It was only behind one full-time Tempo Storm player and one Tempo Storm coach. This roster move leaves a lot to be desired, to say the least, but maybe I'll be proved wrong. I just do not have a lot of faith in this team after what they have shown so far in the 2021 season. The final team in the NAL is XSET, and while they have a bye in the opening day of the NAL, they also partook in the shuffling of the deck. After their abysmal Stage 1 performance, with their only win coming in the middle of a season to a struggling Dark Zero, it was obvious that change needed to happen. For XSET, this came in two forms. The first was dropping Butters, who has now moved to content creation inside of the org, as well as the departure of their coach Brycer. To fill these voids, XSET found their newest fifth player in Challenger League trenches as well. Joining the NAL is another former Livid player, this one being Razor. The new rookie filled the secondary entry role on his CL team, and stepping into the limelight with a team of talented players, it appears he'll be roughly in the exact same role. With their roster completed, all that was missing was a support staff system, and to fill these holes, they brought in Jarvis as their head coach and Drew Spark as their analyst. It's a big step for Jarvis. It's his first time being in a professional team while not being in the lobby. I have high hopes for this well-tenured veteran in this new role, and to assist him, having the former E United and SSG analyst of Drew Spark is only going to make life easier for the team. For a hungry roster whose only direction is up, expect a better split from XSET. With these new upgrades, they could be a solid middle-of-the-pack team. Overall, I expect this stage of the NAL to be an even closer race than Stage 1 was. No preview video, though, would be complete without listing where I rank these teams. In order from 1st to 9th, here's my hot take of where I rank these teams will be at the end of Stage 2. Will we see the comeback of the historically stronger teams? Will the new blood give a revitalization to the teams that need it the most? Will Caliber Jacob finally get a Predator laptop? Well, you'll just have to stay tuned to find out. And don't forget to tune into the NAL for Stage 2 starting June 15th at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. In the meantime, before Challenger League starts, come check out RSA Season 3. It's a great way to get to know more of the Tier 3 ecosystem, and I'm one of the casters for the league. Playdays are on weekends starting at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. A video detailing all of the changes to North American Challenger League is also in the works, so keep your eyes peeled for that. I'm Brandon Jagged Pierce. This has been The Situations Room.